Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the We the Locals podcast. My name is Josie.
I'm Jessica.
And we got Stu pushing our buttons in the corner. Hey, Stu.
Hello.
And thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. If you could please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to the episode as well as to our channel. We greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to boost us, boost our algorithm, you can drop us a comment on the episode, as well as maybe take that link and share it out to all of your friends, family, neighbors, precinct, people in your precinct, whoever you think might be interested in hearing about all things local. Also, if you would like to help us keep our lights on, you can drop us a donation via our website, or if you'd like to have a more permanent or more impactful impact, geez Louise, it's gonna be a long night, a more impactful impact on our show, you can sponsor our an episode or sponsor a season through business or through a campaign. I got it out. Yay. So yeah, that's it. Hi Jess, how you doing?
Good. A little
What's
crazy. We just finished municipal elections, so we
Wah,
have
wah.
we have
Not happy. This should be not just water in my water bottle. It is water, but I wish it was
Republicans overall did pretty good.
Sure.
But, we did have a little bit of an upset in Boca as far as we were concerned.
Yup.
So
as far as sanity.
Let's kind of talk about that
let's
first.
do it.
And then I should have pulled up this email because I wanted to kind of give the
Overall.
the Republican stats.
All right. Well, while you're looking for that, I'll kick it off by saying that the Save Boca slate swept the city council seats, and the Save Boca two mayoral choices. There was really a big split you could see in a lot of the Save Boca supporters between Liebelson and Thompson, just based off of our own observations of what was happening with signs in the city, in people's yards. You would see Save Boca signs, and about half of them had Liebelson in them, and about half had Thompson in them. So it was very clear that was a big split in the Save Boca Save Boca supporters, because it literally came down to 5 votes. So it was actually quite exciting. To be fair, on election night, it was very, very close and so in Boca, just so everyone knows, it's winner take all. So whoever wins the most votes wins. It does not go, it's not a 51% or go to a runoff or anything like that. It's whoever wins with the most votes wins. And so because of that, it was a three-way, it was split. So Fran took about 24% of the vote. And then that remaining percentage, what is that, 64 or something, was literally split down the middle within 25 votes on election night. Was the difference, I think Andy was up by 25 votes, right? If I remember correctly. No, Mike was up.
Yeah, but I think even before election night was over, it had dropped.
Yeah, as they were counting the vote by mail ballots, as they were and dropped ballots and things like that, it kept changing. Literally, we're all sitting there with our phones hitting refresh, watching these one by one climb and then or ascending numbers, and so it ultimately became Florida statute is a recount is automatically triggered if the difference between the top two is 5.5% or less of the vote split. And so that happened. And so it was automatically triggered to be a recount. So this was all on a Tuesday night. So Wednesday, Thursday was when they were also curing the ballots, the vote by mail ballots and the provisional ballots to make sure that everything was counted correctly. So when they went into the recount on Friday, when they went to the recount on Friday, they had everything finished at the SOE office. And so they went in and the final results were that Andy won by 5 votes. So for those who don't know,
I was just going to say,
Andy has a history. There's Boca folklore of Andy having a history of being very, very close on election night. And then either in the recount or in the final counts, whether it's a recount or the final tallies, ballots showing up and Andy winning. So
by 5 votes last time.
It was,
right?
I don't know if it was 5. I would have to check. So I didn't live in the city limits when it happened the first time. I was living right outside the limits. But when I remember this. When I was running for city council, I was door knocking in the neighborhood I was living in at the time. And we were kind of new to the neighborhood, that specific neighborhood. And we kind of started to become friendly with another. It was also during the COVID time. So you were still like, do you become friends with the neighbors or not? We don't know. Do they want their kids mingling with our kids? Like, we don't know. So we would see their kids out playing and our kids were out playing. So we had like become like warm to each other. So when I was door knocking, I went to their door and I was like, hey, just so you know, and they were actually turned out to be very, very warm. And they were also kind of the same thing with us. Like, oh, what do we do? Everyone's like, weird tap dance, right? So sorry, it's getting warm in here. And so the guy tells me, he's like, Boca is so corrupt. Good luck. He's like, I'm glad you're running and we'll support you, but good luck because Boca's so corrupt. Because when Andy won, the ballot showed up from the fire department. He tells me this whole story and I'm just like, okay. What do I do with that information? I'm like, well, I don't have the fire department finding ballots for me. Like, this could be a problem. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not saying the fire department's doing that. I'm just saying, like, this was the story that I was told. And I was just like, okay. So I filed that away. And then lo and behold, here we are. Andy wins again by ballots being there. I don't know. I just find it interesting. I have no idea. I'm not accusing anyone. I'm not saying anything. I'm just, it's fun folklore. It's interesting. So yeah.
So there was, and just so everybody knows that there was a machine count and there was a manual hand count.
Yeah.
So,
and it was the biggest turnout. I'm actually waiting to hear if it's the biggest. I'm pretty sure it is the biggest turnout that Boca's ever had.
It was
in a
30%.
Which really is not that great considering you have 30% of the people deciding for 100% of the people.
Right, exactly. So if you're upset about the results, it's because only 30% of the citizens in the Boca Raton, the registered voters, actually voted in the election.
But that's still way bigger. I mean, like, I think when I ran in 2021, which was the last time that there was no early voting, no presidential preference, it was like the last time there was actually a real in-person day of election vote in 2021, and I'd have to look to be sure, but I want to say probably around 14,000 people voted, maybe less, maybe like 12, maybe, yeah, but I'd say 12 to 14. And in this election, I think, was it 19,000 people voted, something like that?
Well, let me quick do
so
I can tell you.
She can tell me, but so here's my thoughts, and I've talked about this personally with a lot of people and kind of been waiting for the show tonight to kind of air out my thought process. There's this part of me, like the populist part of me, that is like, yeah, the people were upset and the people got what, like, voted and spoke with their vote. That's what happened. Unfortunately, it also goes to show that when people are riled up about something and their emotions are stirred up, that means that they don't always see facts about stuff. And that really was what this campaign came down to, is you had candidates who had facts on their side about the future of the city, about their thoughts on the future of the city, on things that need to be addressed in the city. They had real plans. They had real understanding of things that were going on. And we've got this ordinance that's going to be sunsetted in a couple of years with regards to the downtown. Like, big things are going to be happening in the next few years in the city. And there were people either on the council or on those ballots who knew a lot and know a lot about those things. And so they had facts on their side. And then you had the candidates on the ballot who really didn't know much about anything happening in the city. They couldn't really answer any questions clearly about things happening in the city. They didn't really give any campaign promises. Everyone's like, okay, so now what? What are they going to do? Because they didn't actually say during their campaigns, that I heard, maybe if anyone has more information, what they were going to do. It was more so who they were, and that they were anti the downtown.
Right.
And that was like, I mean, I got a gazillion mailers, like stacks and stacks of mailers. And all I could glean from them was save Boca, no to development, no to the downtown. That was really it. So now that also got voted down, so we don't have a downtown. We're also not getting a new police station, which I'll talk about in a moment. the question is what's now? What are they going to do? What are we doing?
With the possibility of lower, ad valorem taxes coming in.
Yep.
With, redistricting possibly happening. There's going to be so many different little shakeups that affect Boca Raton that this new slate that's coming in doesn't really have any knowledge or experience to be able to
exactly. And so they did not win on platform. They did not win on plans. They did not win on vision for the city. They won on emotion.
Yep.
And they stirred up the emotion. They tapped the emotional button of the people of the city. And I get it. The people are fed up. The people are fed up with the development. They're fed up with the traffic. They're fed up with the city council not listening.
Well, in all reality, they're fed up with Scott Singer. And
they're fed up with Scott Singer. And they put everyone on that was on the council who was not Save Boca or on the Save Boca as under Scott Singer.
Yeah.
And I honestly hope if you ever hear this, Scott, this was on you. You guys could have easily, once the Save Boca raised their hands and said, we don't want this development, you guys could have easily pulled it.
Yes.
And said, you know what? Let's table it. It's an election year.
Yep.
Maybe we don't do something that's going to cause so much cirrus in the city during an election year. There's enough drama with elections as it is.
Right. Just going into midterms, there's enough.
Right. So this goes back to what I was saying before about the populace of
19,000 people voted.
That's what I said. Yep. That's what I was right. 19,000 people. This goes back to what I said about the populace, the side of me of they have not listened and and I'm not saying they as all of the people sitting on the council. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's more so the political class, the upper class, the political upper class of Boca. I sat with a consultant and to talk about my concerns, one of the candidates' consultants, I won't name any names, and I was like, the people are ticked. And he was like, no, every few years people get upset in Boca. Every few years people get upset in Boca. They don't like this. There's a few crazies who raise their heads and yell and they don't want this. But here's the thing. People can only take it for so long. And I know, I have a friend who she has lived in Boca for a very long time. She's been very politically involved and knows all the people. And when they were building, I can't remember what it's called, but it's off of Camino, at the end of Camino, where the Winn-Dixie used to be. There was a Winn-Dixie off of Camino, and do you know what I'm talking about, Stu?
Yeah, there's apartments there.
Dixie and Camino. And there was a Winn-Dixie there, and they wanted to take the shopping center out and build the apartments. And the entire area was like, no, we don't want this. No, we don't want this. No, we don't want this. And the council voted yes. And they were ticked. And that has happened multiple times throughout the city.
Yeah.
And people were fed up. And I understand that. I understand why people voted the way that they did. My concern is that it happened at a time where things are about to get super crazy and it could really impact. Look, let me just put this out there. I've said this before. We talked about this multiple times and Jessica's brought up. The property taxes go away and there's no revenue coming in from the city to the city of ad valorem homeowners' property taxes. Who's paying for things in the city? The commercial and business properties. If this council is anti-business, anti-development, big businesses, big headquarters, things like that are not going to choose to come to Boca because they're not going to be welcome by the city, which my little small town mind is like, yeah, I don't want those big businesses here. But at the same time, I also like living in a beautiful city. So if I'm not paying for it, who's going to pay for it?
Right.
We're going to lose services. We're going to lose.
Well, it comes down to the fact that you're going to either have, and this was the thing. What we need to have hats. Brian Stenberg was right.
Yep.
So
and he still hasn't fixed the traffic like he said he would.
Right. So no, they elected him to mayor. He didn't do anything that he said he was going to when he beat Brian.
No, he said he wasn't going to raise taxes, and then he voted to put a bond on the ballot.
Yeah, which is raising taxes. And so it's like they're it's so frustrating because when people tell constituents the truth, people get mad.
they're like want to kill the messenger.
Right. But when they get lied to, they promote them.
Yes. That's exactly it. That's
And
exactly it. I got to lower my register. Sorry.
In Josie true fashion, this is cuckoo bananas.
Cuckoo bananas.
Like, why would somebody blatantly lie to you and then end up getting a promotion? Like, I just don't understand people's concepts. And the thing of it is
because of the emotions. Their emotions.
Exactly.
The emotions.
Exactly.
But he's going to save us. He's going to stop the development. I didn't like Fran. I didn't like what she said, and I didn't like how she said it. Oh, I'm sorry. Facts don't care about your feelings.
And all Andy did was lie because he's going to do development.
Oh, He is in Ross Related's pocket. Like, they funded his campaign.
Yeah.
Like,
and Bat Mazian was on his, did it too.
So here's the question. Who's going to be in charge? Because now you got the 3 safe Bocas who are going to not be able to talk to each other because of sunshine laws, which if anyone hears of them breaking them, please let us know.
Yes.
Because no.
Incompetence is no excuse for
That's
the law.
correct. That's correct. And if I have to abide by sunshine on a advisory commission on women where we're discussing is about how we can advise our commissioners on how to make women's lives better, and I can't even have a conversation off the record with that board member, then you is freaking heck cannot talk to the council members and have a plan on how you're going to vote for things.
We should have had a private investigator investigating them and following them around for the last couple weeks of the election and see if they met.
Oh, they did meet, I'm sure. Now, though, we need to be seeing if they're meeting.
Yeah.
Now we need a PI to follow them around. We might have a good one.
It's not official till they get sworn in.
Till they get sworn in.
Right.
March 31st.
Which is the 31st, right?
And then after that, game on.
Yeah.
You violate the sunshine laws once, your butt's ours.
And I don't leave it to their inexperience to be like, oh yeah, we talked about this the other day. Remember?
That's totally gonna happen.
It's totally gonna happen. It's totally gonna happen.
All right. Okay, so let me finish what we were saying.
We should create a drinking game or something.
We really should. That's the only way I can deal with this, man. These people.
Yes.
Look. The head of the Chamber of Commerce was almost crying when they got elected.
Oh, my God.
That's how bad he thinks it's going to be for businesses here in the city.
Poor Troy.
I know. I was like, whoa. He was not happy. And he was basically like, it's just going to be really bad for businesses.
Yeah.
And it's going to be bad for people who want to do business. And
well, I think it's just going to be bad for everybody because what's going to happen is that they're not, and I predicted this and I'll say it here as well, is that this is just going to open up they're not competent enough to understand what needs to be done in the city. And they think that they know things that they don't. And it's just going to open up the city to a lot of lawsuits, and it's not in the budget. So you're going to have to raise taxes, or you're going to have to reduce services, or you're going to have to raise your beach pass again, which is a touchy subject with Josie. So I'm pushing that button a little bit.
That's the beaches and parks, though.
Well, that's true.
No.
Not.
It's not. The city gets to decide it, but the money goes to the beaches and parks.
Correct. So it's going to be, it's going to be very interesting how this plays out.
Backwards, by the way.
It is.
That's so wrong. But okay, sorry, continue. I hadn't process that out for a second.
So,
it's a touchy subject
we
for
wish
me, guys.
the city of Boca the best of luck, and I'm thankful
thanks.
that I don't live there right now. I will be saying that. I feel like I dodged a bullet. But
she got out just when it gets fun.
Right, exactly. So, but
if anyone wants to invest in our popcorn business for the city council meetings, I'm really truly considering a way that I can sell popcorn to the attendees of the city council meetings, right, especially for the first few meetings. It's going to be very
interesting. I am curious to know on how many people are going to actually show up to council meetings.
It's going to go one of two ways. I can't say which one. Depends on how pessimistic I am about life. It determines which way I go. But these are the two ways it's going to go. Either the people who were the mob, the Save Boca mob, are either going to take their pitchforks and go home because they think they've done their job. They've saved the city. They got the no to the downtown, no to the fire station, police station. And we got good council members elected who were going to make the right choices for us, for the people. We're good. We're going to go back to our lives, and they're going to stop watching and paying attention, and they're not going to watch the city, the incompetence.
They weren't watching and paying attention to begin with.
Until it bothered them.
No, they didn't even pay attention. It was all emotion. There was no substance to their rhyme or reason whatsoever.
Right. But they're going to take their pitchforks. They're going to go home. They're going to be like, okay, we did our job.
And it's going to be empty.
And then it's going to be empty, and they're not going to watch the fire burn that they lit. Or they're going to be the most insane mob ever and be like, you're not doing, they're going to, every time a developer comes to speak, they're going to be there supporting their Save Boca candidate and their council member who's going to champion what they have to say, and it's going to become
and the attorney sits there and goes, if we don't do that, we'll get sued.
Yeah, and then they're still going to vote against it because I got this mob sitting in front of them with their pitchforks ready to skewer them, so they're going to do what the mob tells them to do, regardless if it's against the law or good for the city or whatever it may be. So one of those two things is going to happen. I couldn't tell you which one. It just depends on how pessimistic I am at that given moment. But that's my prediction. One of those two things is going to happen.
Right. And just to be clear, too, just so people realize, is that the mayor race, like the 40%, was 40% was Thompson and 40% was Liebelson. So like nobody had a majority vote. So when you hear Democrats coming in and saying, oh, we flipped Boca, first time in 30 years that a Democrat did not flip Boca. Somebody who lied and said that they are not for development won Boca, who happened to be a Democrat. So
he won in spite of him being a Democrat.
Correct.
I guarantee you, because I know many Republicans houses that are Republican houses had Andy Thompson signs in their front yard. And if they followed through with voting for him based off of their signage, then there were a lot of Republican votes that went to him. This race, for those who are out there saying, I don't want to steal your thunder, but those who are out there saying this race, it had nothing to do with party politics.
That's right.
This race had to do with development versus no development, and that's it.
Because if it did, you would actually have seen more Republicans get elected.
You would have seen a Republican majority board. You would have seen Fran, who's a Republican. You would have seen Mark, who's a Republican. You would have seen Kristen, who's a Republican, and you would have seen Bob Weinroth, who's a Republican-ish. You would have seen a Republican majority board, but because the Republicans in the city did not actually support Republicans, they supported, quote, their Save Boca candidates. Then we got what? A Democrat mayor, one Democrat council member, and two independents.
Yeah, they're independent.
They're independents.
Sipple.
Isn't Sipple?
No, she's an independent, but she was a Democrat last year.
Isn't Perlman
No,
she was a Democrat last year?
Mm-hmm.
When was Perlman a Democrat? Was he ever a Democrat?
No, he was always an independent.
Okay, so we got one Republican. Michelle Grau was a Republican, but she is still under the Save Boca thumb because she didn't even decide to run for the seat she ran for. She was told she can't speak independently. They're going to speak as a slate, or they're going to fall apart and it's going to be a disaster. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting to watch. And the thing of it is that we need to make sure that, we're always paying attention to Boca. It's our largest,
it's where we are
in the county.
It's where we live, where I live.
And I think the way Boca is a very red city. I think it's an R+13, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe. You're better with those numbers. I can't ever remember.
I'd have to look to be sure. But that, actually, I could probably look.
It is a very Republican city, and a lot of Republicans probably came out and voted, and they voted for they didn't vote for the Republicans.
No, and I think as a party, the Republican Party of Palm Beach County actually did a very good job of getting out who the Republicans were.
They did a very good job.
So that's just one of those things that it is what it is.
This is because people weren't voting. It was the emotion. It was the developer versus the non-development. Oh, the police station. That's what I wanted to talk about. Yep. So, The police station, they had put a bond, a question of if you wanted to, it wasn't a referendum, it was to take out a bond of up to $150 million to rebuild our police station outside of the downtown. Right now, our police station is in the downtown, outside of the downtown, and then have a substation downtown. And the reason they made it so high, $150 million, is because they were wanting to make sure that they could go up to that. They were never estimating that the development of the building would take that much, but they were taking into consideration how quickly costs can rise for building and things like that. And they wanted to make sure that they didn't run out of money as they're building this. So that's why it was at $150 million. And I think that would have normally passed, but I think it got swept up into this whole no situation. Everyone was just no. And now that provides a big problem because the current building that houses our police department for the entire city of Boca is not a structurally sound building, in that if a Category 5 hurricane threatens, the whole building has to be evacuated. So we will not have an active police headquarters if we are under a threat of a high-level hurricane, because the building is not sound, and now we have no money or situation in order to fix it or rebuild it. So, yeah. There we go. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. So let's see.
And there's no downtown, so there's no money for the city hall and the community center to be rebuilt. They said they'd always talked about the Save Boca people. Sorry, real quick. We're like, oh, well, we have all this money in reserves. And so they could use our strategic reserves that are there in case there's a hurricane or, God forbid, a disaster that comes to rebuild buildings or update buildings that we could have had for much less or for free. And
I actually kind of, I think I mentioned in our chat, I think these candidates were actually set up to fail, because when you look at all of these parameters and things that they're going to deal with, you have the last two city councils didn't address these issues. And so now you're against a wall. You have to address them. You can't really kick it down the can anymore. Or kick the can down the road anymore. So it's like, were these meant to save Boca, or were these people put on, to be slain, basically, and set up to fail because of their incompetence and everything that's going on? Is that it's a really good way for them to be able to clean house when nobody's paying attention next cycle.
Yep. Nobody's paying attention next cycle, clean house, and bring in the big developer.
Yep.
Supported candidates.
Yep.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And then, because in this, so is what it makes Boca not competitive, because of the fact over $1 million was spent in Boca Raton alone, just on a municipal race.
On a municipal election, $1 million.
Crazy. It's crazy.
It's insane. That's insane.
For a $30,000 a year job, you had over $1 million with, I think, just the mayoral candidates.
Really?
I think so.
I thought $4 million for all of it.
Could be.
Look,
we can take a look at those
I want to take, but not just for the candidates, but also the Save Boca. How much money did the Save Boca organization spend, and how much did the One Boca organization spend to support the development?
Yeah.
They came in late. They came in kind of late, but I got gazillions of text messages from them. I got gazillions of mailers from them. They had canvassers. They had signs. They had people, and those are all paid jobs. They had people, and now the Save Boca are going to say, oh, well, we were all volunteers. Okay. You're all volunteers because you're all chumps. Somebody is going to make money off of that, because somebody, namely John Perlman, is not going to put six-figure money into something that he is not going to personally benefit from in some way, shape, or form. So if you thought that you were altruistically volunteering your time to save Boca, and therefore you did it, you got played. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of go on a little bit. We have lots of things.
She wants me to stop ranting is really what she's trying to say. She's like,
because we have listeners from other places other than Boca.
I know. I'll put my diva hat off.
So, let's see. A couple notables is, let me see.
Delray. Can we talk about Delray?
Oh.
I know, but I would like to dissect it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I want to know, we need to talk about the lack of good campaign management.
Yes. So I'm finding it right here so we can take a look at what the
numbers were.
Yeah.
Because and I'll say this, and not to bring it back to Boca, but in general, as a campaign management background, this is my extensive campaign management background that I've been doing for years and years and years. Note sarcasm. I couldn't get involved as involved in these campaigns as I wanted to, just because of my time availability with my family and all that. But it was very hard to watch some of the just things that I would have done differently had I been the campaign manager. And then I don't know that I would walk in and say I could have won you this race, but I think I could have helped make it a little bit closer. And it was very frustrating to watch because the candidates, we had really, really good candidates, and the people they put their trust into didn't earn their trust in helping them be successful in their campaigns. And that was a very big bummer to watch.
Yeah. So Delray Beach was won by Judy Malika. She got 40% of the vote. Andrea Kaiser, who was our preferred candidate, got 34% of the vote.
That's close.
And Dolores Ringel got 25% of the vote. It was really close. There was, I think, she ended up losing by like 300 votes.
That's
looks like
not much.
It's not much at all. And I said all along, I was like, if Andrea Kaiser loses this race, it's pure incompetence on our team. And I totally stand by that statement today. She was an excellent candidate, and I did not see her being promoted as the excellent candidate that she is. It was really just kind of like commercially. And, especially like her video. I mean, they were what's the word I want to say? They presented well. They were nice little commercials or, reels or whatever you want to call them on Facebook. But is what made Andrea so great was when she talked about the issues, when she really was able to empathize with the residents and say, hey, look, I'm here for you just like I'm here for me. And it's because I live here and I love where I live. And and I've done work with the city and I see where it struggles and where we can do better. And that just was not highlighted by her team. And that was very frustrating as somebody who knew what a good candidate she was and the type of candidate that Judy Malika was. She's a leftist Democrat. All she talked about was like ICE isn't going to come in. And
you know what? Sorry. I heard at one of the campaign watch parties, I heard someone say that Andy, I haven't looked this up yet, but I was gonna see if you've heard of this. Andy was recently at an anti-ICE rally at FAU. Like recently.
Yes.
Like in the last month.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to confirm that I meant to tell you that the other day and I forgot that they told me that. Because the woman's husband works for the Homeland Security. He's a Border Patrol agent here in Florida. And he was like living. He's like, she's like, he's like, they grew up. He's known Andy for a very long time, and very, very upset about it.
As he should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's
so
the thing,
go back to this woman
Dolores was very incompetent. She was. I think she's in her 70s or something, but she was just. She didn't understand, even though she had worked for the city for a long time, she didn't really know what the capabilities were of a commissioner once they got elected. So she was just really incompetent. And Judy just, kind of talked a good game, but really just did those Democrat talking points till they were, just sick in the face. And here Andrea is like, we're gonna pray about it and find out like what I could do as a commissioner and what I can't do as a commissioner. She's like the greatest minds in the country are trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
And you want me to answer this question regarding a city council or a city commission race. So like I said, there were a few candidates that we finding out that had these bid consultants and Cornerstone's one of them, Public Concepts is one of them,
Who
Patriot
worked with
Games
Public
is
Concepts?
one of Huh?
Who had public concepts?
I don't know off of the top of my head, but there were, they're all doing the same things. So these consultants are just doing the political handbook.
Job.
They're just regurgitating what happens in every single election over and over and over again.
They're not actually getting into the issues of what is happening in the city and building. That was one of the things I think when it came to Bill's campaign that we did such a good job on was every single bit of his messaging that we did, all of his videos, all of his things, all were, these are issues that we know you're facing. Here's how I'm going to fix them.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing that, then what are they doing?
Exactly. And then
you're a proven leader.
And they're not really going after the NPA votes. And this is the thing on a party side, on a party level, because I work within the party a lot, is that it's the Republican Party's job to get out the Republican vote. We focus on high propensity voters and work our way down, depending on, how much money we have, what our reach is, all of that kind of stuff. And so candidates should really be focusing on NPAs and flipping, moderate to right-leaning Democrats. That's what campaigns, especially in a municipal election, should be focused on. And that should be issue-focused and issue-based.
Well, that is what the Save Boca was able to do.
Right. It shows that that
is
works.
That's what worked. That was the only thing that worked. That was why you had Republicans voting for a Democrat.
Yeah. And it also proves that even though that they were incompetent, where some of our, like Andrea Kaiser, super competent. And if she was able to articulate, let me be clear, she was able to articulate the issues if you were to talk to her and have a conversation or listen to her in a forum. But if you just got a flyer from her or saw things on Facebook, you're not really seeing who Andrea was. And I think that was just a huge disservice to her. And this is my personal opinion. This isn't anybody else's. This isn't me just trashing, consultants. I think that they have a place and that they are important. But you have to have a team of volunteers or paid consultants that also understand the grassroots and the issue-based information that is running your city,
and merge it together so you can have that. And I think, so let's take one of the other candidates that I spoke to regularly was another candidate, and I'm not going to say any names at this point, but one of the candidates that I spoke to regularly gave kind of ear to the ground things, and she's like, okay, that's good. And I actually saw her in the forum bring in things that I had said, but it wasn't part of her messaging for her campaign. And that is the problem again with especially with candidates who are not that experienced in campaigning and winning campaigns. They don't know if they're green and they have never won a campaign before. Then they don't know what to take from the ground and how to translate that into their messaging. And they rely on the expertise of their managers or their consultants to do that.
Right.
And if you're not merging those two things, you can have a great ground game of grassroots volunteers who are feeding you or even paid people who are giving you information. But if it doesn't turn into campaign strategy, campaign messaging, campaign branding, then it doesn't percolate out into the community and make the people connect with you on those issues.
Right.
So she was the only one who brought up, and you probably can figure it out, she was the only one who brought up during the candidate forum, unprompted. It wasn't asked by the forum about that we need to be talking about property taxes going away. And she brought that up. I'm sure she was already thinking about it, but her and I have talked about it multiple times. And so I was like, but it didn't become, she didn't then put a mailer or ads out saying,
this is what we need to, if she would, you're right, Josie, if she would have been able to say I'm against development, but I'm also looking at the fact that we need to look at our tax structure. We need to look at our budget. We need to look at projects. We need to be educated on what's the best things for our city if these things do pass or don't pass, because now, that these two things got voted down in Boca, what is this, I think Josie mentioned, like, what is this slate going to do?
Right.
It's like, okay, well, those things are off the table now, but now we need to talk about, taxes, and we need to talk about future development, because what's going to happen with that community center that's falling apart? Like, what are you going to do about it? And there's no answers for that. And this is where, like, if you had a good consultant, and good grassroots working together, this is where you end up being able to create a platform that is actually palatable and makes it easy to get behind. You're gonna, hopefully start to see things from, the party that kind of brings this kind of stuff in together as well. We have the special election going on with John Maples against Emily Gregory, who's the Democrat that's running in State House 87. For taking over Mike Caruso's seat, because he was appointed to the clerk and comptroller. So that leaves that seat open. So there's a special election, and both of these candidates are articulating the issues very well. And so I saw Nikki Fried and, Emily Gregory, doing videos like, oh, this is Trump's backyard. We're going to flip this seat. It's going to become a Democrat seat. You just watch.
Oh, if Nikki Fried's here, we can all just
I'm like, oh, okay, we got this in the bag. We're all good.
Oh, no, we can't rest on our laurels. You still have to go out and vote. We still have to do the deed, do the thing.
Right.
Make the thing happen. Vote.
So, and my computer just died. So if you want me to look up anything else, I forgot to plug it in.
Oh, man. No, so you'll be fine. We'll be fine.
We're fine. So, but I think is what we've learned in these municipal elections. First of all, we did flip Royal Palm Beach.
Oh,
so
yay.
That was a Democrat seat. We switched it to Republican. We also flipped Wellington. So Wellington now has 4 out of their 5, I think, that are Republicans now. And so that's huge. And so we're making inroads in the county everywhere. So when I saw the Democrats promoting, like, oh, we flipped Boca after 30 years, I was laughing hysterically. I'm like, and granted, if it was the other way around, we'd take it as a win too.
Yeah, we
would be like, oh, we flipped it. But also at the same time, it's just their lack of like misunderstanding and understanding what was happening in Boca.
Yeah,
because you would kind of do it a little bit more low key than what they have been doing it. So
to be fair, Scott Singer never really acted like a Republican anyways. So
he never promoted for a Republican.
No. And then he had the nerve to ask me if I had campaign advice when he promoted a Democrat over me.
Which he still did. He promoted Andy over Fran.
Did he?
He had Andy all over on stuff. He was behind the scenes pushing Andy. Of course he was.
He might. I mean, he told me when I saw him.
He's going to say I'm lying. He's going to say I'm lying.
He told me when I saw him in that same conversation that he thought Fran had it. He was like, I think Fran's got it. And I was like, okay.
Do you think he was saying that just because he thought that's what you wanted to hear?
I have no idea. It's very possible. I don't really believe most of what he says. So, Right. 1, 2, 3, go. Thanks, Stu.
Excuse Stu walking across the camera to plug in my laptop for me. Thank you,
Stu. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. I don't know. There was this moment where I was on my way. I drove over to my friend to one of the watch parties. We the results come in so quickly, especially like for if it wasn't close, like the mayoral race, we knew pretty quick on some of the other races. And so I knew on my way over there that she had likely lost. And so
I have to show Josie something.
Oh, no, we don't. No, we don't. No, we don't.
A friend of mine just asked me about a candidate. Do we support this person? And I was just kind of like, nope.
Nope. And I was driving over there and, I'm all like bummed and sad. And I was like, I want to quit. I want to be done. I just am done. I'm tired. I'm tired of this. I think my career, my very long storied career in politics might come to an end after this. I was telling my husband, and he's like looking at me like I've lost my mind.
He's like, yeah, right.
Yeah, he's like, okay, sure. Sure.
I say that every time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man.
I need to retire.
I'm like,
I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm like, I could really use a win. I want to win. And so Republicans actually had a better turnout than Democrats countywide.
Oh, we did?
Yes.
See, I didn't know. I've just been so wrapped up in like mourning for my city that I haven't paid any attention.
So countywide, there was a 17% turnout with a 30% turnout in Boca. So that kind of tells you, if you were to take out that 30%, how dismal but we outperformed the Democrats by 1%.
Oh, yeehaw.
So we at least did better than they did.
We can rub that in their faces.
And we won 72% of the races that we had a Republican in. So
wow, Boca really skewed those numbers.
Right. And the thing of it is what people don't understand, and I want to be very clear. So those Democrats that are saying, oh, we flipped Boca, when we lost, I just said Republicans won 72%, right? So the ones that we lost weren't even to Democrats, they were to independents. So Democrats didn't,
except for the Boca one.
Right. So but for the majority of the races is that a Democrat didn't win, an independent won.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So that tells you how we are trending red, because they were voting for Democrats for a long time, and now they're looking at independents because they're like, I'm not ready to vote Republican yet, but I'm willing to vote for an independent to take this skew off the political
especially
scale,
in a nonpartisan race. It's
Correct.
become less partisan.
Correct.
Which is interesting. It's kind of always what we've wanted for the nonpartisan races.
Correct.
So, like, unfortunately, and here's the thing too, let me just throw this out there because it really bugs the bejesus out of me, because if Liebelson would have got up by 5 votes and take 6 votes and won, the Republicans would be saying, we won. And Liebelson's not a Republican. Like, the dude is donated to every big time Democrat that there has been.
He's registered as a
He's
Republican.
registered
and
as a
that's all that
Republican.
matters to the party.
Right. And I understand that concept from a party, because the party has to have structure and borders and rules, otherwise it becomes arbitrary and la-di-da, and so I fully get that. But as a resident,
Could you imagine?
It would be a hot mess express. But as a resident, I'm like, this man is not a Republican. Like, why are we? I wouldn't say, oh, yay, we won, a Republican won. If he would have won, I would have been like, he's a terrible candidate. We had a debate going, which one would be worse? Andy, the Democrat, or Liebelson, the quote Republican, for the city? And I don't know where we landed.
I was a fan. I was a fan of Fran.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Me too. Fran. I have Fran all the way. Ride or die. Let's go.
Yeah. And it was so cute because I saw her Saturday. Before the election, and she was so cute. She had a skirt on and her little tennis shoes, and I was like, "How are you feeling?" She goes, "I feel good." She goes, "It's gonna be, it's gonna come down to the last vote." She wasn't wrong. But she was out there working. She's like, I just came from, knocking doors. I'm going back out to knock more doors. And my heart just kind of sank for her on Tuesday because I was just like, nobody really deserved it more than Fran did because of the fact that she has worked so hard against the Democrats on our city council to make Boca a better place, that she was basically just kind of passed over because of the fact they grouped her into what was already, happening, that she really,
she got lumped into something she wasn't lumped into, really. Right. And then when she tried to speak, so Fran is a nurse, and so she's a very factual and scientific mind type.
Not even a nurse, a surgical nurse.
A surgical nurse. So she's very precise in what she says. She's very precise in how she speaks. She's very non-emotional. She's very fact-based. And that women don't like that, I guess. I don't know. I liked it. I appreciated it. I was like, okay, I know what I'm getting and I know what I'm dealing with. In politics.
And she was honest.
She was honest. And
she was just honest.
She said in the forum, she's like, look, I support the downtown development, but it's to the voters, and if the voters don't want it, come up with something else.
Yeah.
And people were like, she supports the downtown development. And I was like, did you hear what she said? She said it's to the voters, and whatever the voters want, she'll go with. And then we'll do something else. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what you could have a problem with that. Like, I really don't understand.
But the thing of it is it just makes me realize that, like, you and I, Josie, are like the abnormal. Like, we're just not.
I mean,
normal.
that's just my life. I'm always the abnormal one. But then I'm like, but. Does that make me crazy?
But it's like,
does that make me weird?
You would think if you listen to us that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all we talked about and dealt with and listened to was politics. And there's nothing further from the truth than that. I mean, granted, we spend a lot of our time doing it, but you don't have to like pay a lot of attention to understand what's going on. And I think that's one of the reasons why we did the show is like, we can kind of tell you what's kind of going on in a couple of hours and give you a snippet of like what's going on where and what we should be paying attention to. So it's not hard. It's just the fact that when you're starting to listen and paying attention and then you're taking your emotions out of it, you know, it's like I've mentioned on the show a lot, you know, quite a few times that, you know, I'm a certified life coach and I've coached, you know, hundreds of clients and done personal development courses and all of this, you know, personal work. And it's like your best place to be is in your everyday life is an observer role. You're just paying attention to kind of everything that's happening around you, and you're making educated decisions based on that observation and how you're going to evolve yourself forward. And when you get wrapped up in the emotions, your emotions of anger, sadness, fear, and shame, you're stepping out of that observer role and you're bringing baggage and past experience into your decision-making process that is usually skewed because your past experiences were not pleasant.
Right.
And so when you're looking at it and when you become very emotional, you have to be able to step back and go, "Ooh, what's this? You know, what is this feeling of anger coming from? You know, because I don't feel heard. Well, how can I feel heard? Well, I can pay better attention and I can
take
understand
more control
and articulate what I would like to see happen." And then you can become an activist of saying like, okay, this is what I want to see happen. And what we saw in Save Boca in the beginning was very positive. We were like, okay, this isn't so bad. Like, you have a group of activists that are like, hey, we're kind of done with the overdevelopment and we want to say in projects going forward. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think anybody had any problems with that. And
no, I mean, I didn't like the amendment to the charter, which I'm glad that went kaput because that would have passed and that would have been a big problem.
Right.
But that being said, I think it was good that they finally put it on the ballot. In the end, it is city land. It is a big project. It is going to be a big thing that impacts the city going forward. They did the same thing with Meisner Park. Yeah. Meisner Park was voted on. And I think that was good. So ultimately they got what they wanted. The problem is then when it became a political movement as opposed to an activist movement, then you get people who are now in positions of government to make decisions on behalf of us because they are representative government and they are incompetent and they don't know what they're doing. Now, I will say that I believe that people who have the determination to and the will to can learn a job, and I will give them the benefit of the doubt that who knows, maybe they're all sitting up all night studying the charter and really learning the city system and the city system of government and what their role is and how it plays out and how it interacts with all of it.
Like Michelle Grau
I can see,
doing
right.
that.
So I'm going to say maybe they'll surprise us all by actually putting the work in. Because I understand, like, I remember there were times during my campaign where I'd sit with my campaign manager and be like, what do I do if I win? Like, I don't think I'm going to, but what do I do if I do? And she's like, then you'll figure it out and you'll study and you'll learn and you'll ask questions and you'll do what you do. And I was like, okay, yes, that's what I will do. I knew enough about myself that I was committed to actually understanding what my role was and what my job was if I was when I was elected. I started doing that while I was running. I did do a lot of research and started learning a lot. but I knew that I was going to have a crash course once I got in, because there's only so much you can know from the outside. And that's how it is in any government job. And so
ain't that the truth?
Ain't that the
I've
truth?
been there.
Yep. So I want to say, you know, we could sit here a year from now and I could say, wow, I was wrong. They were amazing. And you know what? For the sake of my city, I hope that they are.
Yep.
I really do. And I will be willing to come on here and say I was wrong. I should have supported them. I am willing to do that 100% if they prove me wrong. I've always been that way. Look, when I was screaming Chicken Little, the sky is falling during COVID, and I was like, there's something wrong. This is not right. We shouldn't be doing this. There's lies. We're being lied to. Lied to. I would tell my husband over and over again, I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong.
I would say that
I will be called crazy for the rest of my life if I will be happy to be that, because that means it's better for the world and better for my country and better for everything if I'm wrong. Guess what? I wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I'll be right in the future. Just means that this is how I function. If I take a stand on something, I am willing to be wrong on it if it can be proven that I'm wrong.
Yeah. I'm like, I hope I'm not the smartest person in the room.
God,
that's what I would say.
No,
I'm like,
that's what I say all the time. How are we the smart? We are not the smartest people in the room.
And that's what I think I realized with a lot of these campaigns, you know, is
it's not rocket science.
Exactly. It doesn't take a political science degree to kind of figure this out. And what a lot of people don't understand, and this is what I learned. Okay, so I learned in 2022 is that there is a whole political underbelly in Palm Beach County that a lot of people may or may not know or understand. But there is literally maybe a dozen people or so, maybe 24, that actually pull the political levers behind the scenes. And once you understand who those people are, you just talk to them. And you get them buy-in on your candidates. And it's not that hard, because they want really what's best. 9 times out of 10, they just want what's best for their city or their business or, you know, whatever aspects that they're in. So it's just about having those conversations.
That's why this election was so shocking for Boca. It shook that. It shook.
It did.
Shook. Now, if we follow the other conspiracy theories that's really not the case, that the whole thing was being manipulated by behind the scenes. There is a conspiracy theory out there that the Save Boca people were put into place, manipulated behind the scenes. The whole thing is a way for who knows which billionaire to have control over the city. Could be the case.
Could be
the case. We will not dismiss those outright.
And there's not saying that there's not multiple factions of things like that going on either.
Right. So on the surface, this was very interesting when I was, again, sitting at the watch party, and there's people talking and people who are used to winning or being at least winning something, not winning. And they're all like,
what just happened?
Yeah, how did this happen? What just happened? And like I said at the beginning when we started talking about this, that populist little bit in me was like, you guys don't know everything. Because I went up against those people. Now somehow I'm in with those people. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I'm not really in with them.
Well,
I hang around the fringes.
Well, the thing of it is like I said,
they know who I am, and I know who they are. That's it.
These aren't terrible, awful people.
No.
You know, they mean well, and they want what's best for their city or their business.
What they think is best, yeah.
Right, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. And they can use their money and influence to push things in the direction that they want it to go. Just like we can, just like Save Boca did. Like, this is the process.
Perlman is not like a down on the outs, like poor guy. The guy is a trust fund baby.
Yeah.
Okay? He funded everything, supposedly. Mm-hmm. So we're not talking that we're getting like, you know, a man of the people up there. The guy bought 2 houses, destroyed them, and built a compound. Like, he's one of the people that most Boca residents, who have long-term Boca residents, kind of hate, because he's a pompous prick.
Yep.
Who tore down a neighborhood to build his compound. Like, that, if he had not been doing what he was doing and rallying the people and be using his silver tongue to do all these things, people would hate him.
Yep.
The rest of the Boca residents don't like the people who are doing that, who are destroying our neighborhoods by taking and buying old-time Boca, buying these old houses and knocking them down and building compounds. Like, we're not in love with that concept. Really not. Like, great. It's great.
Take that to West Palm. Yeah. Take that to,
He's one of those people. So, like, we're not getting these people. This isn't like, he's not a man of the people.
Right.
As much as he pretends he is.
And that's the thing is what I realized early on is what, just let me finish my thought.
Yeah, so I was just agreeing with you.
I agree.
It comes in all forms. It doesn't have to be the political elite class. Correct. It can be someone who's new on the scene, but he's still doing the same thing.
Correct.
It's the same process is what I'm saying.
And my point is that we have the opportunity to do that too in every race. There's not some silent cabal running everything.
It's the Jews. Don't you know that, Jessica? Sorry, I couldn't resist it. Every time someone says the silent cabal, I have to say it. It's the Jews! Sorry.
Oh, my God.
You okay over there?
I was not expecting that. That was hilarious. It wasn't the Jews. It wasn't anybody. We have the ability to pull those political levers as well.
But if you get a Jew on your team, it helps. Sorry. Just gonna keep going. It's so bad. Oh man, I'm sorry.
Because we have a lot of conspiracy theory aspects in our party that think that like there's people running.
Think the Jews are controlling it.
The Jews.
Sorry.
That is really this underground cabal. I don't know of another word to say it. Not Jews, but just people. And it's literally a couple handful of people, like I said, maybe a couple dozen people at the most. And you have a group working over here and you have a group working over here.
And they work with each other and against each other.
And one day they're each other's best friends. And I'm like, oh, I thought you were working with so-and-so on that race. And go, no, they're voting for the other guy, screw them, And I'm like, oh, okay, so I want this guy. So I'm going to that person. And going like, oh, I think we're on the same side of this one. And they're like, oh yeah, and I'm like, okay, how can we help? How can we work together to get this done? And so it's interesting how it all comes together. And it's not as scientific. It's not some, secret coded message. There's no
sorry, so many jokes.
No,
so many jokes.
It just makes it very easy for the average person like Josie and I to be able to get involved and be effective and be influential when it comes, because we just know the players and we're able to understand how those can come together. And if we can get them together, we become successful in that. You're so funny.
Sorry.
You're so bad.
I had so many jokes going through my mind. I'm just going to crack myself up. Okay. All right.
Oh my God. I do want
to. So in other news, we still don't have a budget.
Yeah. So the House recessed, and they're back in session in April because they did not pass a budget.
So how is this going to impact the special session?
Good question. I don't know. So the question I would have is, do they do both at the same time? Or
can they have a special session while they're still in regular session?
They're
in extended regular session.
Correct.
They're still in regular. They're not in special.
Correct.
So
because you can't gavel out of regular session until you have a budget.
Balanced budget.
Right.
Balanced
budget. And I think the House and Senate are off just by a couple $1 million.
So we're not going for like a month or two here. Okay.
No.
Well, that's good.
I think it's like, somebody wants it to go, and the House wants an extra couple million to go here and the Senate wants it to go here type of thing. So that's really kind of all it is. There's no really big fighting about it or anything like that. I do want to bring attention to House Bill 277. And the only reason why I'm mentioning this bill is because I am a domestic abuse survivor and thriver. And so Deborah Tendrick, who happens to be a Democrat here in Palm Beach County, she is District 89. And she did have a Republican co-sponsor on this bill, so it was completely bipartisan. And my understanding is that this passed the House and the Senate overwhelmingly. I think it was unanimous, if I'm not mistaken. But so House Bill 277 strengthens Florida domestic and dating violence laws, enhancing victims' protections, law enforcement's procedures, and penalties for offenders. It's known as the Domestic Emergency and Batterers Reform and Accountability Act. It's designed to expand and reinforce the state's response to domestic and dating violence. The bill was introduced by Deborah Tendrick and Danny Nix as the co-sponsor and received bipartisan support. The emergency, I'm going to kind of synopsis it for you. So, if there is repeated offenses, then there is enhancements on the arrests, meaning that they can be caught with more charges. They're actually giving, and I love this part, and I'm going to get emotional. They're actually going to provide victims of domestic abuse $2,500 to be able to relocate and start their lives over. And that's not a lot of money, but if you are somebody that was, that is stuck in a situation and you have a significant other, a husband or a boyfriend that is controlling you and controlling your money, and if you have children, you feel helpless. You feel like you can't do anything and that you're stuck. And yes, you want to protect your children, but also at the same time, you want your children to have clothes and food and shelter and be able to go to school. And when you are being threatened, when your life is being threatened, and your kids are not being threatened, you will stay in that situation until you have the ability to be able to get out. And I know that firsthand. Of just in my own experience. And so I just want to thank Representative Tendrick and Representative Nix of bringing this forward and actually creating something that not only makes sure that accusers and those that are hurting their loved ones are being held accountable, but also trying to do something to the victims to help them recover. Because as somebody who's worked with a lot of domestic abuse clients, I've heard it be described before, and this is the best explanation that I can have, is that when you are a victim of domestic abuse, it's like taking a glass plate and throwing it against the wall and it shatters into 100 pieces, and you spend the rest of your life picking up those pieces and trying to put that plate together. And I've been thankful enough that I was able to get out of that situation and not only survive but thrive, and learn from that. And I'm thankful for my experience because it made me who I am today, and it made me stronger, and it made me stand up for myself more than I ever was allowed to. I was allowed to give myself permission to stand up for myself. And so I just want to kind of mention that I think that this is a great bill, and I love the fact of the $2,500 for victims. I think that that's a small little sliver that just gives women or men in that situation a little sliver of hope that they can actually move on, and not only move on but heal, and they feel supported and cared for and loved. And I think that was the biggest thing is, I was told for a lot of years in my abusive relationship that nobody would love me. And because of my traumatic childhood, I believed him. And so it took me a long time to be able to realize that I am a child of God and I am loved regardless of whether or not somebody says that they love me. And, that was a long healing journey for me. And I hope that this bill actually gives those in this type of situation a little sliver of hope, and puts them in what their divine purpose may be. So
it's very cool. Yeah.
I think and I love that it came out of Palm Beach County. So, yeah. I mean, I think it was great.
So it goes to the governor to sign?
Yeah. Yeah. So, so that was very cool. There's a couple little bills.
There's a couple here that I was going to touch on. The voter access, the citizenship proof, it's our own SAVE Act bill. So I think that was an interesting one. So regardless of what happens,
there is a poison pill in it.
What's the poison pill?
The poison pill is that even if you are not allowed to vote, you can still vote by provisional ballot, and it could be counted. So if you go and you cannot provide documentation, you're still going to be allowed to vote.
Well, the provisional ballots are not always counted.
Well, they're not supposed to be.
They're
They're
not.
supposed to be adjudicated, like gone through the process and all of that kind of stuff.
So that puts it down if you have a good supervisor of elections.
Correct.
So you have to pay attention and elect a good supervisor of elections who follows the law.
Correct.
There was another one that was a local government DEI ban, which I think they did last year, but it sounds like they're strengthening it. So prohibits cities and counties from funding, carrying out, promoting, or implementing diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, programs, or events. So that will be interesting. That's passed. It was sent to DeSantis. It is expected to be signed. And then some interesting ones to look at, some coastal resiliency projects to help enhance our resiliency projects and local incentives for coastal protections to help build our infrastructure so our coastlines stay beautiful. And then this one I like is e-bike and scooter safety, and it imposes a 10-mile-an-hour speed limit near pedestrians on sidewalks and trails.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's really good because it's a little bit terrifying out there if you're walking and someone's riding an e-scooter flying by you at 25 miles an hour or something. People die. And then there was another one on the terrorist organization designation. So it allows the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to designate domestic or foreign groups as terrorist organizations with the governor and cabinet approval. So it doesn't. They're not working in a vacuum. But it allows for them to say, hey, these guys training down here on the ground, and it might be ISIS. And then some things on the data centers, but it really was not what we wanted. So that will be next year's fight probably. And then anti-teacher union measures also.
Was it DeSantis or Trump that said that the AI data centers couldn't use... They had to be self-sufficient as far as their energy goes.
I think it was DeSantis, but don't quote me on that.
I think it was too.
But basically, they put some light regulations on their energy and water, but it's not very strong, is what the summaries that I were reading on. I didn't read the whole bill and all of the details. I've just been pulling some summaries on some of the bills. So I do know that that's going to be a big issue probably in the next year. That's probably going to be something that candidates run on. It's going to be my guess that there'll be a lot of conversation in the 26th cycle about data centers, AI data centers, both at the local level, at the county level, as well as the state level, because you've got the state who will come in and give regulations, and then the county who will either push back or push for those regulations or lack of regulation, whatever it may be. So it'll be interesting. Have we any new candidates filed? Where are we on the candidate field?
Actually, that's a good question. I haven't looked, so let me look right now and see.
So we'll also try to find out. I'll contact some representatives and see if we can find out how the extended session impacts the special session for redistricting, because there's a lot riding on that redistricting here in the state. That everyone's kind of holding their breath for, I think, in some of these races. So there's another Dem that jumped into County Commissioner District 2 race. District 2.
So that's Greg Weiss's seat. Mm-hmm. So Erica Whitfield is the front runner, and she's a Democrat.
She's on the school board currently.
She's currently on the school board. There's a Teresa Johnson. That name actually sounds a little familiar.
That does sound familiar.
So we'll have to look to see what she ran for previously. I'm sure she probably held something because it does sound familiar. But she's a Democrat, so we still don't have a Republican running in that race.
We need a Republican in that race.
I'd be happy with a strong independent, actually.
That's fine. We need someone to challenge Whitfield.
Yep. And so that was interesting. Somebody else, a Democrat, another Democrat jumped into Commissioner District 6.
Ooh.
So you had this Mohammed Ankthur that's a Democrat, and then Rudolph Tinker is a Democrat that has filed to run.
Last time that they had 2 Democrats running in that primary, they slaughtered each other. And that's, I think, what contributed to Sarah Baxter's winning was that the Democrats were beaten and bloodied.
Correct.
Which very rarely happens, especially here in Palm Beach County, that in South Florida, really, that the Democrats go at each other's throats like that. Because they know then that hands the seat to the opponent. They made that mistake in District 6.
Correct.
Which I don't know if they'll do that again. It looks like they will. I don't know if they'll make it a bloody battle, but it'll be an interesting battle.
It will
and
be.
It's just still Sarah and what's the other?
Elizabeth Alcamando.
That's it. No more Republicans.
No more Republicans.
And District 4 is still just the Dem and Republican.
Correct. So,
which tells you. So when this, just to kind of give you a little insight, Marcy and then Curtis Calabrese. When a bunch of people are jumping into a race that is held by an incumbent, they think that incumbent is weak.
Yep.
So when the incumbent is strong, they have a lot less challengers, which logic tells you, but just kind of put it out there as you're looking at these races. It's an interesting observation.
It is. It is. Another interesting observation is that we do have a candidate in the Greater Boca Raton Beach and Park District.
Oh, can we announce it?
Yes.
Yay.
So, Albert Cacace.
Yay!
Yay!
Who's a great friend of ours personally, as well as a friend of our show. He's the reason the show got off the ground. He was our first sponsor. I don't know that we would have made it out of the gate because we had no money, like none. And he got us through the first, and we, got us through that. We got a couple more sponsorships after that, and that picked up, and that allowed us to go for as long as we did, to bring us to the time where we could come to a space that.
So we'll be here. Hopefully, I think I dropped a bomb on him yesterday that we were going to have him on the show.
Yeah, I think he was not quite prepared for that.
Oh my God! So we definitely want to support Al in his and full transparency. I am his treasurer on his campaign, so I am going to be helping him in that race.
So the Greater Beaches and Parks District, for those who don't know, if you don't live in the area, is not just the city of Boca, but it is outside the city as well, the north and western parts of the city. Excuse me. And so it is a separate taxing district. It's the reason that the city of Boca can claim that they have the lowest tax rate in the Tri-City area because they only charge for the millage rate for the city. And then the Beaches and Parks has its own millage rate, but when you combine them together, it's the same as the other cities.
Which is a 1.8 millage, I think.
Which one?
The Greater Parker.
No, it's like 3.
I think it's a 1.8.
I think it's 3.8.
3.8?
Yeah, because the cities is like 4.2, so then together it's just under 8, which is about comparative with Delray and Boynton. I think I did the research like a while ago on that, maybe like a year and a half ago. I think I did that, so it could have changed also.
Yeah. No, I doubt it. You're probably right.
I think I think that's about it. Yeah.
And then we have School Board 6, which is an open seat, because that was Whitfield's seat, right?
No, isn't she 4?
You're right. Whitfield was 4. 6.
I don't know. I get them all mixed up.
Marsha Andrews was School Board 6, so she is not running for re-election. So this is another really big race. This is a nonpartisan race, and you have 5 candidates in this race. Yes. 2 are really serious. You have Barbara Medema, and I think that's how you pronounce it, and John McGovern.
Well, John McGovern is Michelle McGovern's husband, right?
Wasn't he a mayor
in Wellington?
Wellington, yeah.
Yes, right? Wasn't McGovern the wife? Hold on. Wasn't she the one who Sarah beat in 2026, 25, 22? What year is it, guys?
It was 22. Well, hold on, I can look.
Can you look? Because it's going to bother me now. Like that last name, I'm pretty sure that's right. I used to be able to recite a lot of this stuff off the top of my head. Homeschooling is making me not as smart. No, I'm smarter in other areas. I noticed myself today.
You're right. You're right. Yep.
Michelle McGovern, and she was up against.
She had $450,000.
And guess where she spent it? On the primary. She
funny.
spent probably, if I remember correctly, I'd have to go back and look, but if I remember correctly, she spent probably like 3/4 of it on the primary.
Wow.
Because and that's what I was talking about, being it bloodied, like her, and was it Simpson that she beat in the primary? I can't remember. I just remember we were like watching that race because it was crazy, because it was an open seat. It was Michelle McKinley's seat. Melissa McKinley, thank you. And the Michelle McGovern, now I've got those mixed up. Yeah. And Michelle McGovern was like McKinley's like anointed and appointed.
Yep.
Right.
That did not go well.
No, it didn't end well for McGovern. So now her husband's running for school board. Well,
there were 3 Dems. McGovern, Sharps, and
Willahite. That's the one. It was like I don't know about the Sharps. I don't know how she fared in it, but it was Willahite and McGovern were at each other's throats.
Wow.
So we don't live in the district, so we didn't get all the mailers and stuff, but we would hear about it at all because we were at all the same political events because we were running simultaneously in District 4, and so we would hear about it, and it was a big topic of conversation with how they were going at each other's throats, and they really think that's what, because that's a D3 or 4 at least district that a Republican won at the time.
No,
it's changed now.
It was more.
It was more.
It was let's see if I can find it,
but this was 4 years ago,
right? But I can kind of see where it is, and then I just pulled these numbers yesterday. I think it was a D+12.
Really, it was that high, and so the Republican won because. So again, this should be a lesson to us of why we don't beat each other bloody in a primary.
No, people don't listen.
Nobody listens to us, Jessica. You know what? We should all get hats that say we were right. Brian was right. Josie was right. Jessica was right.
I agree. I don't know if they'd sell very well, but yeah.
Just wear it myself.
Right? Exactly.
Just rotate it. Just kidding. We'd never do that.
Yeah.
But it's fun to talk about.
I can't see that. It's too small.
Here, give it to me.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't. So this is saying, you need the totals here. Oh, it was pretty. So in 2025, it's pretty even.
Yeah, but it was not that even.
It wasn't then.
So that's why I want to say it was a 3 or a 4. It was a pretty solidly held Democrat seat. It had been a Democrat seat. Listen, Melissa McKinley ran unopposed for re-election. Like, these commissioners used to run unopposed regularly. Yep. Mm-hmm. Weinroth, I think, ran unopposed. No, that's not true.
No, because he ran against...
No, I mean for his first term. That's not true. He didn't run unopposed for his first term. I can't remember. I'd have to look. But, like, a lot of them ran unopposed or would run for re-election unopposed. And in a district the size of District 6, for her to run unopposed is insane.
Yeah.
And she did. That's how much people either didn't care or how Democrat it was that Republicans didn't even think they had a chance. And so the fact that we then went to primaries and now we have a Republican primary is just is crazy.
Could be bananas. Could be wrong. ChatGPT said it was a D+12 in 2022.
So it could be, yeah.
So could be.
I knew it was a uphill battle for Sarah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
For sure.
It really was. And I mean, not that we didn't want her to win. It was just, she was not expected.
She was not. And it was a lot of it was, and there was a lot of conversation too about how Michelle McGovern spent so much money on the primary, and she was fundraising like crazy, trying to turn around and then win the general, and that it just didn't work out for her.
Yeah. So
it's interesting.
Yeah. So that's what we got as far as candidates. We still have, June 12th, I think, is the...
So we'll find out for our next episode, we'll find out if the session situation.
Yes.
I'll do
I
a
also
little
want
digging.
to I want to thank a couple of our viewers that reached out to us in the last couple weeks from our last episodes. So thank you for watching, and thank you for giving us the nice words and kudos. And I think a couple people asked us questions. So please continue to do that. We're here. If there's anything you want to know, anything you want us to know, make sure that you're communicating with us. We've got a couple.
We love to hear from you.
We do.
Otherwise, it's just us talking into a vacuum and yelling at each other. And Stu, yelling at Stu. I'm sure he loves to hear us rant.
So it's all good. And, so I just want to say thank you for those that reached out. And, I think we got a couple comments on a couple posts. And all good things. We're excited. And I think I don't really foresee too many more candidates kind of coming out of the woodwork, but that doesn't mean that that's not going to happen.
We shall see.
This is a midterm election, so it's like all of our constitutional officers and stuff. There's no election for those, so it seems like a little smaller of an election this time. So it's going to be very interesting how this plays into 2027 and 2028. So we're already looking ahead on the chessboard a little bit.
And just for the record, we will probably have a slight disruption to our recording schedule and posting schedule because Passover is the first week of April.
Yep.
So we'll keep you guys posted. Make sure you're following us on all our socials and our emails.
Actually, and I'm gonna discuss this on air with Josie right now.
Oh, good. You're gonna see our planning meeting.
Yeah. So we are gonna have to change our schedule. We usually try to be very consistent and do the first and third week. I think we might have to switch to the second and fourth.
Ooh, really? Why?
Because the JCRC, which is the Judeo-Christian Republican Club, is coming back in full force.
Woohoo!
It's going to start in May. It's going to be at the South County Civic Center or the Dr. Andre Fidel Civic Center now. Fidel. Congratulations, Andre. It's there, and it's going to be the third Wednesday. So if we cut out Wednesday from the third week, it's going to make it very tight for us.
Not to mention it's a lot of nights that I'm not home.
Correct. And it's the day before is the region meeting. And so I think we might have to change a little bit of our schedule going forward starting in April. So if you see some things kind of get changed up, it's just because we have new obligations and we just need to make sure that we are providing good content, but also that we're able to fulfill our other obligations that we had as well. Because now that we don't do live, it makes things a little tricky as far as like just uploading everything and getting everything out. Where when we do it live, I didn't have to do any of that stuff.
So if you would like us to go back to doing live, you have to donate. You could donate or sponsor us, and then we could go back to going live, and then we wouldn't have this challenge.
Correct.
So that sounds good. We'll work it out. So definitely keep an eye on that. But that means we probably likely won't have an episode before Passover. So I hope everyone has a wonderful Pesach and enjoy your time with your family, and happy Easter, because it'll be Easter too for our Christian friends. And so definitely enjoy a beautiful season with your family, and just remember, it was the Jews.
I'm so clipping that. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, X, and Facebook. We're We The Locals or We The Locals FL on all of our handles. You can email us at WeTheLocalsFL@gmail.com if you need to reach out to us, have any questions, concerns, anything you want us to talk about or anything to bring to our attention. Like I said before, you can please email us. You can check out our website that has links to our channels, our original episodes, the first couple that we did. If you're new to watching and want to know how we got started, you can watch those and click on those. And you can also donate to us. So even $5, $10, $500, $1,000. There's no limit, actually.
Yeah, we're not political candidates or anything. You can just write that check with as many zeros as you want.
Exactly.
Keeping our lights on.
And it would be greatly appreciated. And we'd mention you on the show if you want us to, or if you want to remain silent, we can do that too. Yeah. Whatever works for you, we'll make sure that, we handle your money very well and we put it to good causes. So you can check out our website at wethelocalspodcast.com for all of that information, including sponsorship information. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night and be sure to stay local.
Bye.